Hey everyone, it's Anna. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. On a previous video, I mentioned that I was thinking about coming on and sharing how to assemble some of my Christmas dies for Impression Obsession, and there was some interest to see that, so I thought I would start with the Primitive Angel. This die released in October, for the month of October, with our country Christmas theme, and it's called Primitive Angel. So it comes with her body, wings, a little cute little scallop collar for her dress, two different hairstyles, and a halo circle that you can use for a halo behind her head. So I thought I would show how she die cuts out and then the assembly process. I'm just going to set her off to the side here. So one thing I wanted to mention too in this video is some of the paper stock that I like to use. I really like this metallic paper pad from Tim Holtz's Ideology line. It is really beautiful, and it's actually the silver paper that I used when I die cut the Joy and Jolly words when I shared them in my previous videos. So I think this paper is really gorgeous. It actually looks like, I don't know, silver when it's die cut, the way that the die is round the edges and things like that. So I think the silver is really beautiful. And the gold is a really nice vintage gold as well. It's not a really bright yellow gold. But anyway, I think it's really beautiful paper, and it has a craft back. So it's kind of nice to use. It's a really nice weight. And the other thing that I'll mention is this cheap little watercolor tablet. This is from Target. I don't know if they sell them anymore. I bought this a couple years ago. But this is what I use to most of the time when I die cut a heavyweight base for my tags. I'll just use this really inexpensive watercolor paper. It's terrible watercolor paper, but it's a really nice weight. And it's kind of, I don't know, kind of soft. So when it die cuts, it gets really nice round edges. And it's not a bright white. It's kind of like a vanilla white. But this is what I use most of the time when I die cut, just a base for if I'm making embellishments or if I'm making a tag. And then I'll adhere the pattern paper to the top of this watercolor paper. The other thing about this watercolor paper is it does take distress inks and other various inks pretty nicely. So if you don't want to add any pattern paper to the top of it, you can actually use just that paper for your die cut designs. And it does ink up pretty nice. So let me go ahead and share some of the die cut shapes with you. I die cut her several times out of various different pieces of paper. I'm looking for the latest one that I did. All right, so I've die cut her out of this Lost and Found sheet. This is by Jen Allison. It has this beautiful rose pattern on one side, and the back side is this beautiful pink gingham. And this is from My Mind's Eye. And this used to be able to be found open stock at Hobby Lobby, but I don't know if it is anymore. I bought a whole bunch of those several years ago and haven't made my way through the stock that I have yet. So let me go ahead and show you the die cut shapes. So here's her body, and it comes with her head and her dress and her boots, of course. But if you want to actually have a different colored boots, you can either snip her feet off of this die cut so that you're left with just a dress, or you can die cut a separate piece, or you can die cut a base layer and just color them with markers. Either way works. So I'm just going to actually snip her head off of here. The die has a score line. If you can see, it has a little score line there where you would snip her head from her dress, and that leaves you with just her dress. So you just follow that line, and then you can just toss that aside. And because I am going to use those brown boots, I'm going to snip the boots from this layer as well. So just like that, I'm left with just her dress. And now I've actually die cut a couple different pieces here, depending on how sturdy you want your tag. You can do 2 layers, 3 layers, or 4 layers, however many you desire. I kind of like to do either 2 layers or 3 layers. And the other thing that I like to do, you'll notice she has those little tiny eyes. So to keep those in place, I'm actually going to put just a little bit of washi tape behind a layer. and that will keep her little eyes in place. The other thing that you can do is actually punch those eyes out, pop the dies out, and you could put just like a piece of black cardstock behind to show through the eyes. That actually works pretty well also. So instead of putting a piece of washi tape on, you would poke those little poke her eyes out and adhere a black piece of cardstock on the back, and then that black would show through. But I'm going to actually color her eyes with a marker. I'm just going to use this green-gray color. You could use any color you would like. But the nice thing about coloring the little die cut shapes is it keeps the alcohol marker, for the most part, from bleeding out into the other areas. So there's that. I'm actually going to give her face a little bit of color. So I'm going to use an R20 marker and give her a little bit of pink cheek and some pink lips. And then I'm going to use an E51 and an E53, oops, wrong end, to give her face some more flesh tone color. And you don't have to be really careful about the edge of the dress or the top of her head. Just kind of be careful around her eyes because she's going to have hair on eventually. And her dress and her dress collar will actually hide any overflow that you do down here below her neckline. All right, so I'm just going to leave her like that. This is not great paper for alcohol coloring, but it does the job. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually adhere this colored layer to another base layer, and that's just going to give my tag a little bit more stability. And what I could also do at this point is, if I didn't have these little boots die cut, I could also just color this layer's boots. You know, I could just color these brown, and then it would look like she had little brown boots on under her dress. But I'm going to actually adhere this other paper for her boots. All right, so that's her, and I'm getting ink blobs all over her from my fingers. So when I die cut the boots, you can see that I left a little piece of the dress here. You don't necessarily have to do that. I just like to, since this is pretty thin paper. It just gives the boots a little more surface area to hold on to when you adhere them together. So I'm going to place her boots just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to take her really cute little dress that I die cut out of that beautiful rose paper, and I'm going to adhere that in place right here. And if you wanted to, also you could distress the edges of your die cut pieces. I might do that a little bit. I might add a little brown just because I like to. So that's real cute, just like that. Let's see. I'm going to use some Vintage Photo Distress ink since it's handy. And I'm just going to get a little bit of ink and give her face just a little bit. And her dress just a little bit. And her shoes. Cute. Then I'm going to take one of the little scalloped necklines for her dress. I'm going to add it to the top of the dress, and that will camouflage that seam between her neckline there and the dress. And it was designed to stick out a little bit from the outside edges. So that adheres in place just like that, really easy. And now she has the option of 2 different hairstyles. I wanted to give her some choices. So she's got this cute little straight hairstyle, and then she has this cute little curly hairstyle as well. So I'm just going to, I think I'll use the straight one. I used the curly one in the sample that I made for the release. I think I'm going to use the straight one today. And I'm going to color her hair brown. And you could die cut this out of colored cardstock, or, you know, pattern paper. I just find it's easy. It makes it easier when you, and faster when you're die cutting shapes like this, if you just color the small pieces the color that you need. Then you're not scurrying around and wasting time just fiddling around looking for different colors of paper. Okay, so there's some brown. I'm going to give her some darker highlights with a darker brown. And this doesn't have to be complicated. It's going to be cute. You could give her gray hair. That'd be cute. You could give her blonde hair. That'd be cute. You could give her purple hair. So then I'm going to actually put the glue on the bottom of the hair die cut, and I'm going to use my little pliers here to kind of help me set it in place. Or tweezers, I guess these are called. Just like that. Oops, whoops, whoa! Her hair is out of control. Actually, it's my fingers, not her hair. There we go. So that's real cute. Then the other thing that she has is a set of wings. So I did die cut them out of several different papers here. I die cut them out of the watercolor paper, just a cream colored cardstock, some of that silver paper from the Tim Holtz paper pad, and this really beautiful silver glitter paper as well. I wasn't quite sure which one I wanted to use, so I kind of like the silver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually adhere the silver ones that I've chosen to use. I'm going to adhere those to another layer of this watercolor paper that I die cut, and that will just give the wings more stability. And I think I'll actually die cut or adhere them to another layer as well. I think I'll put them on this one too. And so, since they stick out to her sides, I want to make sure that they have nice strength. Okay, so that's easy enough. Now I have a set of silver glitter wings that I can use on another angel. These angel wings would make really cute clouds too. All right, so then you can adhere the wings behind her. You could use, actually I think I'm going to use some hot glue because that will give it a little bit of dimension. And you can decide where you like them placed. I'm just going to place them basically even with her neckline there. You could do foam tape. If you put a little bit of hot glue on there and let it dry or cool, and then put a little bit more on there, that would give you some dimension, just like a foam adhesive would. So that's real cute. And the other thing that I have left is her halo. So the halo I just designed as a complete circle, so you can use it for other items as well, if you'd like. This one I die cut out of the glitter cardstock. You can't actually see the stitch detail that the die has out of the glitter cardstock. But I've die cut it out of the watercolor paper and that cream cardstock gold from the Tim Holtz paper, and then of course this glitter cardstock. I think I'm going to go ahead and use this gold here. It's really beautiful. And I'm going to add a quick layer behind. And the other thing that you could do, because the circle is symmetrical, you could add it back to back here, so that in fact, I think I might do that. The back side of the die looks as good as the front side. Okay. So there's that. And then all you have to do is just figure out where you'd like it placed and adhere it behind her head there, like that. And I'm going to put a foam dot on the back of her head, just to make sure it has a little bit of dimension there from the halo. I'm just going to use one of these little foam dots. And I'm going to place it right down there. Perfect. And that's it. That's really easy. I'm going to show you how I like to attach fasteners or hanging strings. I'm just going to use this embroidery floss that I got probably at a thrift store. Yeah, it's old. So I've probably picked this up at like Goodwill, or I don't know, one of our local thrift shops. They always seem to have little bags of bunches of those partially used skeins available. And then I'm going to choose one of my little mother of pearl buttons here from this dish that a subscriber sent to me. Thank you. And actually these buttons are from Marilyn G. So I'm just going to slip the button onto this thread here. I think I need to trim this. No sense struggling. I say that and then I continue to struggle. So just slip the button all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue and adhere this button to the back side of her halo. Doesn't take much. These don't weigh much. And be careful if you're using hot glue, it can come through the buttonholes and be kind of warm. So once you've attached it to her halo, you can just tie a knot in your thread. What I like to do is actually add another button or a jingle bell. I think on her, I'm going to add a little silver jingle. So here's a couple little jingle bells. I kind of like the silver one there. I'll use that one later. And you just tie, you can just tie your jingle bell on, or you can add it to a button. Doesn't have to be complicated. It's all really cute. Just make sure that it's kind of, your strings there are even. Give it a good tie. And go ahead and snip off some of that extra. She's real cute. She will be adorable hanging on a tree or on a gift. You can still write on the backside. If you want to write on the backside and make it look extra nice, you could be more careful with your glue than I was and with your ink. But you could put a to and from on the backside here really easily. You might want to do that before you assemble it all together, but isn't she adorable? I just love her. I think I'm going to give her a little more pink to her lips. And I think I'm going to give her a little glitter glue on her lips as well. This is just a Stardust Stickles. Maybe if I can get it out of here. Oh, you guys might have supplies. I need to like, I don't know, refresh for the holidays, I think. Yeah. That one's dry. How about this one? Good night. Aha, there we go. So just a little bit of glitter glue here on her lips. And if that's not enough, you can also add glossy accents to her eyes. I love doing this with my die cut shapes. And just putting a little teeny tiny bit of glossy accents on her eyes. We'll give them just a little bit of sparkle once that dries. And that's it. You could give her some little buttons down her dress as well. I think she's adorable. So thank you so much for watching my video. I'll put links down to the Impression Obsession website where this die is available from the October release. And I don't know, I hope you enjoyed watching my video. Thanks again, and until we chat again, take care. Bye.